Now we are starting the first topic, that is ethics. So first of all, we need to understand what is mean by ethics and what are the various theories that comes under this part. Okay. So the definition of ethics is not fixed, that we have to first of all understand. We can define ethics in several ways, but for our purpose, the common and the simple definition of ethics will be that ethics is a set of principles that guide human actions in a way acceptable to society. Okay. So first of all, what are ethics? So we will say ethics are set of principles. Ethics are set of principles. Why these principles? So we will say that these principle helps us in guiding the human actions. How should be my action? Which type of action should I perform? Which type of action should I not perform? These principles help me in deciding that. Okay. So what we will say, ethics are the principles which helps us in deciding our actions. Further, the next important part is that the actions must be acceptable to society. Okay. It implies that ethics helps me in guiding my action so that my actions become acceptable to society. This is mean by ethics. Okay. Having understood ethics, now we will move on to what are the branches of ethics. Okay, what are the branches of ethics? We have to clearly understand, because several questions in the previous 4 years have been asked from this part. So first of all, this table must be clear in your mind. Okay, now the ethics is initially categorized into two parts. Mainly there are three parts, but we can say if we are talking about theory, then mainly there are two parts. That is, one is the metaphysics, meta-ethics, and the second one is normative ethics. Meta-ethics, normative ethics. The third one is applied. We will talk it about later. So meta and normative. Now, the meta ethics can be further classified. Now there are two bases of classification. If we go by first basis of classification, then meta ethics can be classified into three parts. That is cognitive ethics, cognitivism, non-cognitivism, quasi-realism. These are the three branches of meta ethics: cognitivism, non-cognitivism, quasi-realism. Now further, the cognitivism ethics can be divided into moral realism and moral anti-realism. Moral realism and moral anti-realism. If we talk about non-cognitivism, then we can classify into three types: emotivism, the second one is prescriptivism, and the third one is expressivism. Emotivism, prescriptivism, expressivism, and the third one is the quasi-realism. Okay. Now, meta-ethics can be classified on the basis of second classification also. And under this classification, there are only two categories. One is moral universalism, and the second one moral relativism. Universalism and relativism. Okay. Now, if we talk about normative ethics, then there are three classification. First one is virtue ethics, second one is deontological ethics, and the third one is teleological ethics. Virtue, deonto, and teleo. Okay. Now, deontological is further classified into two categories: Kant's categorical imperatives, and the second one Rawls' contextualism. Okay, it should be contractualism, not contextualism. There must be R here. Contractualism. Okay, and this must be not P, here also R. So Kant categorical imperatives and Rawls contractualism. And if you talk about teleological, then it is classified into three categories. The first one is utilitarianism, the second one is ethical egoism, and the third one is state consequentialism. Utilitarianism, ethical egoism, state consequentialism. And utilitarianism is further classified into three categories: act utilitarianism, and the second one is rule utilitarianism. Okay. And finally there is the applied ethics part. Okay. So this was just a brief overview of various type of ethical theories that we have to understand. Okay. And further we should note that we have to not go into very deep, because it is just a general studies part, but we need to know the very basics of what are the different theories, what they say. Okay. Now I will discuss one by one all the topics. So first of all, I will discuss about metaethics, its for classifications, and then I will dwell into the normative ethics and in for its further classification. And the applied ethics part will be a separate chapter itself. Okay. Now, so let us start with meta ethics topic.